My name?
Yes.
Eugene W. Lee.
Okay.
You want Eugene William Lee.
And when and where were you born?
Born in the town of Salina.
Okay. And,
That's-
and what date?
March 24th, 1899.
Great. Okay. Before the war, did you have any schooling? Or?
Yeah, I went to school 2 years in high school, and I finished 2 years in in high school.
Okay. Before the war, did you do any work? Did you go right from school into the war? Or did you...
Yes, I worked for the Syracuse Lighting Company. I went to work for them. I was 16 years old then,
Okay.
the first time.
Why did you go into the service? Was it because of the war, or?
Yeah, I always, from a kid up, I always thought of the Marines. And the war was declared the 7th of April, and I became 18 in March, the 24th. So I was just old enough to get in.
Get in, right.
Oh, I just went in the Marines. That was my favorite, the
Right.
Marines.
Okay. Where did you do your training? What?
We didn't do any training.
No. Okay.
They shipped us right over. We, let's see, it was down to the Philadelphia Navy Yards,
Okay.
and all they done was just a little practice, put us on the rifle range, and after that, we come back and they put us right on board ship.
Okay.
So we didn't have to go to we never trained in Parris Island.
What was your feelings of your attitude going over on the ship? Were you guys nervous? Were you excited?
Well, yeah, we 13 days going across, and I guess it was a new ship, the Henderson. They took the squad I was in, and they put us down in there where we had to. They took turns on the big wheels steering it. They told us what to do.
Where were you stationed overseas when you first arrived on land? Where'd you go from there?
We landed in Saint Nazaire, and we was there. I don't know, 2 or 3 days, I guess, and then they put us on a wagon and took us down to Siegendorf. I guess that was some little village, and they had us there for training there, showed us what the trenches were like and so on. Menacourt, that was the place we were at. Siegendorf was where we was in Germany.
Did you have camps over there, or did you stay? Did they have barracks, I guess, or did you stay in tents?
No, we didn't have. We never had barracks. We I guess we were staying some of us in an old barn.
Okay.
Well, we was they training there for the trench warfare.
Okay. So
Over in France, well, we had so much corned beef. We had plenty of that and stew. And on holidays we had turkey. I can remember the one holiday that was after the war ended. We followed the Germans. We had to follow them all the way back into Germany. And we had our holiday in Luxembourg. It turned out on November.
Okay. How about your water? Was there plenty of drinking water, or how did you get water to all the men?
Well, we had water. They'd set up when we had our canteens, you know. But when we stopped any place, they got water in a big tank, and they doctored the water up anyway. So we always had our canteen filled with water.
So did you have plenty of water, or was it rationed? Did you get so much water?
Oh, we never had to worry about water. We got water somewhere anyway.
Okay. How much contact did you have with your family back and forth? How often did you receive letters or send letters to your family?
Oh, I got letters all the while. I never, after I left home, I never got back home again until it was all over. I never had any furlough or anything like that.
Okay. Now you fought in the trenches. What were the conditions like in the trenches?
There wasn't much to it. There was great big trenches there that they had walks. They had the boards down there, and all we done was we didn't do anything. They just stuck in there and up at Verdun, and they once in a while they'd hear there wasn't any real fighting. We had it in Verdun in the trenches. It was just to show us what it was like, I guess. And you had to be careful walking. They had planks down in there that you didn't get off one of the planks. That were muddy down in there walking in there. They just once in a while the Germans might throw over a few shells, and that's what our army done. There was not much fighting in there while we was there. It was after we left the trenches, they took us back in a rest area for a while, and then we wasn't there very long. It was when they loaded us in trucks and moved us. We didn't know where we was going. When we found out after we got out, that's when they marched. They marched us. We had to march up, and while we was going ahead, we see these refugees coming back, walking back, and whatever they could carry. When they had dog carts pulling stuff and carrying it on the head. And there was one French soldier there that come along who was going back, and he says, "Beaucoup Boche." That's all he said. Well, that's when they marched us. Marched us up so far, and that's when Bella Woods took place. And they got us up there and spread us out in formation of squads. Well, they spread us out in formations, and then we saw these wood. Was an open field in front of us, and up ahead was the woods. We didn't know what it was till we started. Started across that, and the first in squads. The first squad would started ahead and firing, and there was firing all the while. They couldn't see us. They were just trying to make a screen for us, and we went in waves. And so about 4 waves, we'd walk. And the first wave went so far, and they was scattered, and they couldn't see anything, but they was trying to form, just firing along the edge of the woods, in the woods there, and they laid down, and then the next wave come along and leaped over them, and that's the way we done. So long, and then the next wave, and they were shooting all the while. So we couldn't see anybody in the wood, but they had machine gun there and firing at us. And finally, we worked our way into the woods, and that's when the real fighting took place. We got. We didn't have any artillery fire for us because they was coming up and back of us, and the Germans was throwing over us. And of course they had to stop on account of their own men. We got in the woods, and then it was just man for man up there, fighting in there. And they finally drove them. We drove them right out of the woods, and they got way back on a, well, I don't know, when we got them out of the woods, we dug in foxholes there, and we had to wait. Well, that's what we drove them out, but we had to wait for our own artillery to come up to back us up too.
Now, Mr. Lee, you received your Purple Heart and your Silver Star at Belleau Woods?
Yeah, I got graves all right along there, just enough to cut it open somewhere along there. And of course, they had at that time, then they got back and they put us in a truck, and let's see, how do I explain it? We got back out of there and they put us in a truck, and they moved us anyway. The fellows that were hit, some of them was hit bad, and I was just lucky. It just grazed me along, just to cut it open along there somewhere. And they took us to Paris. I was in where some of the wounded were. It was there overnight in tents in Paris. And that night, you could hear Zeppelins come over, and of course it was all kind of gunfire, the French firing at them. They moved us down to Bordeaux afterwards there. That's where the big hospital down there, Americans Hospital.
How did you get the Silver Star?
I don't know. I don't know why they give me the Silver Star.
Help the corpsman pull the
Did you help pull the Marines?
Huh?
Did you help pull some of your?
Oh God, yes, it helped. That was at Belleau Woods there helping. They had a Navy Medicaid there from the Navy. He asked me to help carry some of the wounded back, get them back away from the line, and then go back again, keep carrying wounded out. Of course, there was shells coming over all the while, landing around there.
Did you ever get in trouble while over there?
In trouble?
Yeah, like with your buddies, things you shouldn't have done when you're over there.
Well, the only trouble I got in was after they was going to send us back to our company from the hospital. There's a kid I got acquainted with down there, and we got on a train. We were supposed to get on the train, and we didn't. He got in the crap game. I don't know how much he won, about 600 or 700 francs. And he was a Marine out of the 6th Regiment. I got acquainted with him in the hospital. And he says, what do you say we go out and have a good time when they... I told him I didn't have any money. He says, I got some. So to get on the train, when they get on, there was a camp there, a lot of Frenchmen in a camp right near there. When they got on the train, we got over in where the French were, and we didn't get on the train. So we mixed in with them Frenchmen over there till the train pulled out. Then afterwards, we went around Paris there having a good time, and we run out of money, and we both had back pay coming, and we found the Marine headquarters there in Paris there, and we went up and asked them that we'd run out of money, and they give us 250 francs each of us that we had on the books anyway. Well,
what'd you do with the money that you got? The 250
well, we
francs.
Went around having a good time in Paris. Everything went up the big tower, Eiffel Tower, going around. When we went back, we went to the Marine headquarters there, and we stopped in there, and I asked them, luck would have it, there was a lieutenant in there and this other fellow was from the 6th Regiment, and he knew him. And he gave us 250 francs apiece. And when that run out, we got on a train. We didn't know where it was going, just to get out of Paris. And it stopped someplace. We going along, and it stopped. And we wanted to get out to buy something there. And they had the MPs along there and come along and stopped us. They wanted for our pass, and we didn't have any. So they arrested us, put us in the brig there. But we was only in there a couple of days, and they took me with one fellow. He was in the 6th Regiment to send him. Well, I had to send me back. They sent one an escort MP back with me, and let's see, we had to get on a train to go back, and we had to stop overnight somewhere. And I woke him up. I told him I wanted to go at the head. He said, "Well, go ahead." He didn't go with me. He knew I wasn't going to go anywhere. So I come back, and they took me back to my company. They were just getting ready for the drive, for the Meuse-Argonne drive. And they took me back and to the sergeant major there, and he said, well, he told him, well, put him in the brig, and they said, we haven't got any brig. So they put a corporal there. How do they call it again? This corporal was
Corporal of the Guard.
Corporal of the Guard?
Well, they had to take me back under one of these one of the MPs. They got me back to headquarters, where as I say, they was getting ready for that big drive, and they said to put him in the brig, and they said they didn't have any brig, but they had got a lot of new men in the company. A lot of new ones that had never been up at the front. And what did they do? They put me in charge of a squad, and I was still under arrest. And they put me in charge of a squad. And well, I was a state. I had that as long as let's see. Well, it was the last drive. That was the Meuse-Argonne drive. That's when the war ended. But they got us up.
So you ended up at the Meuse River, and that's when they did the peace signing?
Yeah. I forget. There was a couple of other drives they made going up till we got up. We was waiting for night. I know that. We were sitting back there to the Meuse River, and that's when the war was ending. The last night. Gosh, I forget. There was a couple of other drives that they had to get up there, but I'm thinking of the November the 10th. And at night, we had to march down to the river. They had pontoons across the river, and we crossed the river. I'm talking, it's going to be the last night of the war. And we crossed that, and they spread us out along the river bank, spread us out. Once in a while, the Germans would throw over a big shell or so, and one of them landed in the river out there, and the best buddy I had there, he got killed that night with one of them shells landing in the river. In the morning, was all scattered out along, as they say there. And it come morning, it was a nice sunny day and a big open field all the way up in front of us. But nobody was firing. We didn't fire rifles once after we got across there. And it come around 11 o'clock and they give the word, cease fire all the way. And just a minute or two after 11, we looked up there and you see it was a German officer come out with a white flag with an aide with him. They started walking down. And there we had a lieutenant along there. He walked out a ways up there to meet him. And by that time, when they'd been talking there, the German soldiers come rushing down that hill there, and all of our fellows got up up there, and guess we got mixed up with them there, some of them could speak English, just like some of our fellows could speak German. And if they couldn't, we got along trading souvenirs with them and giving them smokes there. That's the way we celebrated the Armistice Day with us.
How long after that day before you went home? How many days or months after the signing did you
after I got home?
Yeah.
Until
you got home.
About 9 months.
About 9 months.
After that,
He took that group
the next day at night we had campfires anyway, and the next day they lined us up and said they give us the honor of following the German army back into Germany. We had to follow up and back of them every day. And during that day, it come Thanksgiving Day, and we was in Luxembourg. That's where we had a turkey dinner too.
Understood.
And I was got in Germany there. I was there 9 months. And
now, that was with a German family? You had the turkey?
No. We had our own. I was in Luxembourg. We had the turkey.
Okay.
We was following the Germans back. And they took us back and they spread us out in this little town, Siegendorf. They took the men and put so many men in the house, and the Germans there. The way the house I was in, they put me in one room we had, and the top sergeant had another big room in the house I was in. I didn't see him. Well, I saw him every day, but not in the house there. And of course, the German, when that happened, the first time the German, they was kind of shy of us. They didn't know what was going on. And gosh, there was no time. Everybody, we have to go out. We'd have to have our guns with us all the while. Then afterwards, we got to know them. We never had to carry any guns anymore when we went out.
Except for one time you went deer.
And we could.
Now, how about the time you went deer hunting?
Pardon?
How about the time that you went deer hunting?
Oh, well, the house I stayed in was right up at the end of this little village. nothing back of it there was woods. Gosh, I walked up. I used to go up there pretty much every day, walk up in there and see deer. And we was allowed to shoot wild boar or anything, but we wasn't allowed to shoot deer. But this time I took my rifle with me and I walked up in the woods there, probably a mile up in there. And gosh, all of a sudden I spotted there was 3 deer there. And I picked out one there and shot him and knocked him flat. Right, the first shot knocked him dead. So I went up and see that it was all right, and I got out of there. Then I threw some branches over the deer. I went back down to the camp there, and I got a fellow told him what I had. He went with me, and we got the deer and brought it back down. It was easy because where I didn't have to go through the village. I'd come right down through the wood into this house, and was back there. And the old man that was in the house there, we pulled the deer down. He took it and took it down cellar. And that night or the next night, the German woman cooked up some steaks for this fellow and I. And we, of course, it was hard for them to get any rations like that at that time. And we had this steak dinner. That was all. We wouldn't go anymore. We wanted to give it to them people, let them have the meat. After we got acquainted with the German people there, we got so we didn't even have to carry any guns anymore. And we had, in fact, we didn't even drill with it. That was the easiest time I had while I was in the service. We had the playground, played baseball, and could get on there's a trolley there that run over to Newweed on the Rhine River. We could, mine been about 5 miles over, 5 or 6 miles over. We could ride on the trolley. Gosh, I could go over there every day if we wanted to, and I'd go over and they had a nice place like a YMCA with a dandy swimming pool in there. Go over there, and there's always a bunch going over, fellas. All we had to do was answer roll call in the morning.
Were you in a parade in Europe?
Yes, and I'm trying to remember how the devil he got in them. We paraded in
the victory parade.
Paraded in Paris, in London, in New York, and Philadelphia, I think it was. We paraded afterwards, after we got.
When you returned from the war, did your mother come and meet you?
Yeah, it was down on Long Island is where we was stationed. I forget the name of the place. And they gave me a pass there, and my uncle lived in New Rochelle, and I got a pass to go up there to New Rochelle and see him, and I told him when I was going to get out, when we was going to get discharged, and what'd he do? He called my mother up, and when I was discharged, I come back. I told him I was going to stop there again, and I come back, and my mother was was there to meet me. But
And then you came home after that?
huh?
And then you came home after that?
Well, I met her, but I had to go back to get the discharge. And of course, then after I told my uncle I was come back, and we got the train and went to Syracuse, and that was the first time I got home.
Wow.
From the time I enlisted.
Ask about the church bells ringing.
How about the church bells ringing? Can you tell me about the church bells?
Yeah, I guess they did. They had even Liverpool was small, you know, and they they rang the fire bell. Jeez, Christ, what a time! Think of November the 11th. I always think of the way we celebrated it. Like people, they had dances and everything, and we celebrated with the German soldiers amongst us. It was over. Gosh, they wanted to get over it just as well as we did.
What is special about America to you?
America?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it makes you think that after all these other countries, we are a free country. But all the restrictions they're putting on the people today, I don't know whether it's free or not. God, they restrict you for everything. Well, we are a free people. And we, but boy, every time you turn around now there's restricted for something. Some new laws. They can't make enough laws now to. But it's still the best country, though.
Well, I thank you so much. It has been one of the deepest honors for me to interview you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Well, I tell you the best I can.